back to your ear. So for the dual degree students, in order to give you the opportunity to focus on the gerontology side, because your IPT, your documentation is all focused on social work. So for the dual degree students, we wanted to use EXAT and this gerontology learning agreement to give you time to reflect on what it is that you would work on, focus specifically on older adults or gerontology. So you'll do a learning agreement all the way up to progress report 1, just to kind of set the stage for you. And then after progress report 1, you won't be doing any of the other forms in EXAT. So you'll do your, you'll do your inventory, your learning goals and professional habits, and then that will get sent to me so that I would take a look and help make sure that those are really strong, that have a quantitative component to help make sure that you are progressing through that, through the semester, but possibly through the year. And then I'll send that back to you. So that might be a process where we go back and approve. So actually, let me go to this real quick. I'm going to share my screen with you. So if you go into Blackboard, right, and you go into announcements, in week 3.5 right here, this is where the breakdown, oops, sorry, I can't highlight, but this is where the breakdown is, right? So in the email that I sent the dual degree students, there's this breakdown, but it has a different timeline, and it also has the progress report steps underneath here. Actually, do I have that? Sorry. Okay, so this is actually for the dual degree students, this is what you see, right? So I would encourage you to reread this so that you know what the timeline is for you, Lydia, as well as any of the other dual degree students. So where you should be right now by this Friday is you need to finish your learning goals and professional habits, right? So you do your inventory, your learning goals and professional habits, so that's where you should be right now. And then the next week, you'll be working with your preceptor to actually finish your learning agreement. Because technically for your IPT is not due till Saturday, October 11th, I believe, right? And then before we break for fall recess, I want to make sure to meet with you for your first progress report. Okay, so your timeline is a little bit further. And then it says stop here because for your mid-semester learning agreement, then since you've already thought about your gerontology side, we'll be able to embed those kind of goals and habits that you want to work on in the comment section of your IPT. Does that make sense, Lydia?
Yeah.
Okay. So hopefully that clarifies it also for other dual degree students. And I apologize, there was somebody, oh, okay, good. I think Lee, you had put this in the chat before we got bounced out. So I think, thank you for putting it back in. For the flower exercise, knowledge is what we learn from classes or internship. Actually, it could be any kind of knowledge. It could be from classes, it could be from your internship. It could also be like your hobbies. So like, let's say you have a particular interest in the media or about playing piano or whatever it is, right? These are all knowledge that you have that maybe in the future you would connect with gerontology, or you might end up transitioning from a gerontology field into a different field, right? So this is just what are different things that you know about that you could talk about or share with people. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah, okay, good. Any other questions? Let me see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I think most of you asked questions, but one of you has not. Would you like to ask a question? Because remember, you don't get points if you don't ask a question, because I want you to engage. Okay, go ahead, Byron. Do you have one?
I'll come up with one. So you said the learning agreement is still on Friday, right?
No,
Friday?
No, your learning agreement should have been submitted a while ago. So that was specifically for the dual degree.
For me, for me, you send it back like a couple of times.
Yes. So we want, okay, so this is for all non-dual degree students right now. Okay, so right now we're in our 6th week of classes, right? So even if you had a late start or something happened with your workflow, we want to get you caught up to your first progress report by this Friday. And the reason for that is we're going to start moving into the mid-semester learning agreement. So if we keep pushing your first progress report it will just delay it. Your progress report and your mid-semester learning agreement are very similar because you're looking at your progress on your habits and goals. So if you do your progress report and then a couple days later or a week later, you do your mid-semester learning agreement, you will do all this effort basically reporting the exact same thing, right? So we want to get you caught up with your first progress report by this Friday. So there's, I was talking with one of you earlier, right? So you would need to work very closely with your preceptor to get everything in by this Friday, right? So we want all of you to get caught up. If you submit it after, it just won't make sense because your mid-semester learning agreement is the one that involves your preceptor, right? So we cannot bypass that. Your first progress report is just me and you. So we can skip over your first progress report and make sure that your preceptor is involved in the next part. Because right now, in week 6, we're starting to get to the middle of the semester, right? So we don't want you to be late in your workflow. So I'm giving you this week to kind of get caught up because technically, if you look at your syllabus, your learning agreement was technically due for most of you. It was due on the September 13th. And then your first progress report was supposed to be done by September 27th. Now, for you in particular, you had a late start with Dr. Kim, right? So yours is a little bit delayed, but even so, we want to try and get you caught up, right? So we don't want you to be delayed any further. So Dr. Kim has hosted a number of our students. He's used EXAT before. So work really closely with him to try and get your learning agreement done to get to your first progress report because we want to get you caught up by the end of this week. Okay?
Okay.
Does that make sense? Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have any questions about the class, about EXAT, about timesheets, about your workflow, about any of the exercises? No? Okay, good. So I'm glad all of you asked questions, and they were really good questions. Hopefully it helped to provide some clarity for your classmates as well. So what I will do is I will upload this into Blackboard, and I will also create some additional questions in case those of you want to kind of engage in. I actually think the self-exploration exercises are really important and much needed because sometimes people just don't reflect on themselves. So I would encourage you to watch the videos. Maybe you might not opt to do all of the exercises, but I still think all of the concepts are interesting. Keep in mind though, one of my strengths is self-improvement. So this is kind of my jam. This is the stuff that I really enjoy. Okay. And with that, thank you all for joining. Today was a very robust class. This makes me excited. And so I will see you. So we do have a class session next week on interviewing. So I'll be wait, is that correct? No, wait. No, sorry, resumes. Resumes is next week. So October 9th, Wednesday, October 9th at noon again, we'll be talking about resumes. So I'll post some resume exercises up in Blackboard in the next couple days. All right? And with that, thank you and have a good Wednesday. Bye-bye.